He's like, how did you do it, man? How did you go from here to there and end up back here again? Well, we did, and it's good to have you on board. It is episode uno. Not really. I mean, if you go back to 2021, we had a bunch in the can, but we're doing it all over again. AthleticsCast. Glad you found us. Here, of course, to talk about all things Oakland A's, if there are things to talk about. Oakland A's, that's the whole thing. It's spring training, of course, and we'll talk more about that in our next episode. Today, the whole idea was basically just check in, let you know we're here, back at our old address again, and good to be here. Some great guests on the way, by the way. We're working on that in the weeks to come, so be around for that as we get through spring training. And then, of course, opening day. And then while all that's going on, our eyes are completely, firmly on what's going on off the field. And that, of course, is what's gotten most of our attention here for the last couple of months, if you've been around. Thanks for doing that. By all means, please subscribe if you're watching it on YouTube, or if you're downloading the podcast, make sure you do that. Either way, so you'll know when we're back here again. Stomp on that thumbs up button down below as well. That helps us build the channel. And believe me, we're starting from ground zero again, so we need all the help we can get, but we'll get everybody back under the tent again, which would be awesome. So if you've been paying attention, you know the A's are thinking about moving to Las Vegas. And as I predicted a year ago, I went back and listened, and yes, it was an episode in March. So just shy of a year, I said the whole Vegas thing is going to go up for a vote. It may or may not go through. And if it does go through, it still doesn't mean they're going to move to Vegas, because after all, it's John Fisher, it's Dave Cavill, and it's everybody in the A's organization that seems to step on a rake at every possible opportunity. So we'll sit here and we'll wait and see. I'm in Vegas now. By way of introduction, if we haven't met before, I'm from the East Bay. I'm from Oakland originally, all the way through junior high, then moved to San Leandro and did high school there in SL at Pacific High School. That's back before it was Nordstrom's Rack, if you're old enough to remember that. But basically, my home away from home, starting at about the age of 7, was the Oakland Coliseum, and I've been an A's fan ever since. I've got a couple of young A's fans that I've raised, who are now raising A's fans of their own. So it's the whole multi-generational heirloom that I've spent a good amount of time on this show talking about, which is, to me, the biggest rub. It's the biggest pain in the butt. It's the thorn, if you will, in the saddle, the whole idea of this baseball team that we love and that we cherish, and is so much a part of the East Bay tradition. Been around for what's going to be 56 years now, right? To see that happening anyplace else other than Oakland just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense. And again, I'm in Las Vegas now, and I get accosted is maybe not the word, but I do get challenged when people say, well, you live in Vegas. How can you not want the team there? It's because they don't belong here. Let's give Las Vegas its own team. And I think if you talk to the locals here, they would tell you, again, as I said a year ago in that episode in March, I said, nobody in Vegas cares about getting the A's. Guess what? That's true. Go ahead, hit the streets and see what you find. You'll find that most people say, hey, we'd love to have a baseball team, but give us one of our own. We don't want somebody else's headaches. And I think the word's gotten out as to what kind of ownership we have, and I'm using that term pretty loosely. But yeah, John Fisher and crew, I don't think Vegas wants any part of that. And to be honest with you, neither does Oakland or the East Bay. So here's the interesting thing now, okay? We have no renderings. We were supposed to get those back in November. Then we were supposed to get them in December, and that didn't happen. And then January went by, and February is just about done, and we still don't have them. And now word on the street is Big League Weekend, which is where a major league team comes to Las Vegas and plays another major league team. This year it'll be the Oakland Athletics against the Milwaukee Brewers. And the word on the street is we might see some actual real, not the kind you wad up and throw away, fake renderings. We might see some real ones maybe in March, which would be exactly like a year since we started beating the drum about I'll believe it when I see it, okay? I mean, I kind of always felt that way, but I got really verbal about it and very public about it. Got my chops busted because of that. People said, you know, you're just you're not being a realist. I mean, things in Oakland aren't what they used to be. I've said all along, if we build a stadium, I'm not a big Howard Terminal guy, to be truthful with you. I'd rather see them build at the Coliseum site. Plenty of room right there. Great view if you don't obstruct it with Mount Davis. And take a look at those Oakland hills and watch some baseball the way it kind of was, back in the day when the Coliseum was first built. I think you could build a heck of a baseball stadium there. You don't have to worry about all of the infrastructure that John Fisher was trying to, say he was going to build at Howard Terminal. Just surrounded with some great restaurants and maybe some good shopping. What would be really cool would be like a nice hotel right there. You'd have plenty of room for all of that. And it would be, I hate to use the term because it was used long ago, Coliseum City. And I know we've been working a long time at being able to try to find a solution, but I'm still not going to give up hope. The hopium pipe I continue to hit pretty hard, and we'll have to wait and see what happens. Of course, the A's are still trying to figure out where they're going to play in 2025, 26, 27, maybe 28. Salt Lake City still, I guess, in play, Sacramento as well, and most importantly, Oakland, which to me makes the most sense, and I think to a lot of people. The team doesn't have to move and keep the offices where they are. And obviously, it keeps the light on at least a little bit in terms of being able to talk about an East Bay solution rather than a Nevada solution. And then maybe Vegas gets that expansion team in, 2030, I think they're talking about now. So have to wait and see. And again, the city of Oakland, with all the leverage there in that conversation, if indeed the A's are going to stay there, their lease is over at the end of this year. Oakland has no reason why it has to allow the A's to stay. So you might as well work it for all you can. And I think that, some say it's a stretch, but I don't think so. I think Mayor Tao saying we'd like the name A's or Athletics or both to stay in Oakland, along with the colors and the uniforms and the history and all of that. We'll keep that and then take our chances on building a stadium and getting an expansion team. If indeed what you're going to do is move, Mr. Fisher, take your team, an expansion team, to Las Vegas with a whole new identity. That I will tell you, being a local here, people would be pretty excited about that, I think. Vegas born certainly works with the Golden Knights, and I think they'd like to repeat that maybe if and when, probably more when than if, Las Vegas gets baseball. So we'll have to wait and see. Again, a lot of waiting. That's kind of the thing. The A's are waiting now on Bally's for those renderings because they say they need to know what Bally's is going to do in terms of their new hotel that's going to be where the old Tropicana Towers were. Okay? The A's, remember, are on a postage stamp, a little 9-acre spot in the back. And then the rest of the property is apparently going to be developed by Bally's. Well, Bally's just had their quarterly call with their investors, and they said they're waiting on the A's to decide what they want to do. They haven't seen the renderings. They want to know where the ballpark's going to go, how then to build, whatever it is they're going to build, hotel, casino, and make it work with the stadium. Okay, so you got A's waiting on Bally's, Bally's waiting on the A's. John Fisher said when he approached the Chamber of Commerce here in Las Vegas that after it was over, he was talking in a press conference, and he said that, the reason why we haven't seen renderings is we're waiting to see what Bally's is going to do. Bally's says no, au contraire, that's not true. We are waiting on the A's. So there you go. Meanwhile, across the street, MGM Grand would like to be a part of that party. Remember, they own not just MGM Grand, but also New York, Excalibur, Luxor, Park MGM. They pretty much own everything except the Tropicana and this little joint called Oyo that used to be Hooters next door. Other than that, it's all about MGM. So even though they don't have any skin in the game, they do, because they would certainly benefit by whatever gets done by Bally's or the A's or whoever's waiting on whoever. Okay, so we'll get it eventually. I'm not sure if that big league weekend thing is true. Then maybe a few weeks away from seeing some renderings. Don't hold your breath. It's been a minute. So we'll have to wait and see how that goes. More importantly, and I think definitely a lot more fun, is Fans Fest. That, of course, is the Oakland 68s and Last Dive Bar's attempt to show you what the town is all about. Celebrating Oakland sports, not just the A's, who still are, last I checked, an Oakland team. They are. But there's also another baseball team you may have heard of. I don't know. Did you? Did you hear about these guys? They're the Bees. And the Bees stands for Ballers. And they're going to be at Fans Fest, along with former members of the A's, including Grant Balfour. Chris Davis was supposed to be there. He's not going to be there, but Coco Crisp will be doing the Bernie Lean. And then besides that, one of the A's that I used to watch when I was a kid, Billy North, roaming center field for those world champion teams. He'll be there along with former Rookie of the Year, Ben Grieve, and Mike Norris, and Trevor May, and on it goes. A big celebration. Starts early in the morning, goes till late in the afternoon. And I think we know who's pouring beer now. So everything's worked out, but that's coming up this weekend. Should be fun. Here's the most important thing to know. $40,000 raised by those two organizations. They're going to spend every penny of that, believe me, to throw this big of a party. But it's by the fans, for the fans. That's why it's called Fans Fest. So it's roots, it's soul, it's A's, it's Ballers, it's Oakland sports, and the East Bay in general, and the people that come together to celebrate Oakland sports. So that's what that's all about. I was a shoo-in to be there, except for this little thing called COVID that hit me right between the eyes last week. So I was down for the count for a week. And what I was supposed to do is the thing that now it looks like I have to do this weekend if I can't get it done on Friday is going to screw me up, because I was going to do it last weekend. That's when I got sick. So that way I would have been free to hop on the Bird and pop down to the town, have a great time at Fans Fest. I mean, it is a quick flight from Las Vegas. And so still an opportunity to maybe pull that off, and I'm going to see if I can do it. Certainly want to be there. Every part of me does. Looking forward to seeing some of the usual suspects, Jorge and all the gang at Oakland 68s, of course. Everybody that's an A's fan that I see on Twitter, most of them that are still in the area are coming, and they're not, again, just A's fans, but they're fans in general of everything that's happening in the East Bay. So that's this weekend. Lots to look forward to there and right here. I guarantee you this is going to be a lot of fun, especially when we start bringing in some of these guests that we've already talked to about doing some episodes here in the coming weeks on the business side and also on the field. Because, oh yeah, spring training. Believe it or not, the over-under in town for the A's for wins for the season is 56.5 points. 56.5 runs. I mean, geez, come on, Wayne. 56.5 wins for the year. I know they're bad, but I don't know if they're that bad for a third year in a row. So if it's me, I'm taking the over, and I'm not even hesitating. I think the team will win north of 60 games. I'm not saying they're going to win the World Series, but I do believe they're going to be more competitive. A lot of young talent on that team. We'll be talking about all of that too. So it's AthleticsCast, back to where it once belonged. Nice to be back here, and I hope to see you again on the next episode. Remember, we're available anywhere you can find a podcast, courtesy of the Believe Podcast Network. So grab us there, or if you're not going to download us there, go ahead and check it out on YouTube, because we do that as well too. Hi, Mom. I'm Wayne Coy. Thanks for being here. Till next time, you keep on swinging.